Obviously, basketball is about scoring points. So, one of the questions that I get the most from players is how they can score more points, become a better scorer, become an unstoppable scorer, whatever the case may be. Maybe they are stuck at 5 points per game and they want to somehow get to 10 points per game, or they're at 10 points per game, they want to get up to 20. Now, when we think about the best scorers in the world, the Kevin Durant's of the world, James Harden, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, we think about the highlights and the incredibly deep bag that most of these guys have. But I did a breakdown the other day on Kevin Durant where he scored 21 points on one dribble. And it just went to show that even though immediately we think about being a great scorer, coming with doing all these crazy moves and having all these crazy different finishes and different things you can get to, at the end of the day, if you want to be a consistently great scorer, it's about being able to score easy points. That's the number one most important thing, even more important than having a deep bag or having a ton of different moves that you can use. Being able to score easy points is the way you become a great scorer. The reason for this is because easy scoring is going to lead to consistent scoring. If you want to be a great scorer, you have to be able to score with consistency. And the best way to do that is by making scoring easy. So, in this video, we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can start to score easy points, which is going to lead to you being a more consistent scorer, which is going to lead to you being able to be a great scorer as you get better at doing these 3 things. The first thing you can do to become a more consistent scorer by scoring easy points is looking for opportunities to cut. I refer to this as the 95, meaning that for most players, 95% of the time they spend on the court is going to be without the ball in their hands. Right? You're only going to have the ball in your hands for about 5% of the time normally. So that 95%, how good are you in those off-ball situations? And being able to cut and recognizing when to cut without the ball is so important if you want to be a great scorer. So there are 3 different situations that you can look to recognize as times where you should cut if you want to give yourself a great chance of scoring. The first situation is when you're below your defender. So we can think about when your defender's in help and they're above that straight line between you and the ball, meaning you're below your defender, they can't really see you. Though that's one of the best opportunities to look to cut to the basket because a lot of times they're not even going to recognize where you are. And you're just going to get a free run to the basket. This situation happens more than you probably even recognize because it even happens at the NBA level. Like there are times where defenders make this mistake right here. So recognizing when your defender is above you or when your defender has their back turned to you and they can't see you, this is really what we want to recognize. When does my defender, when they're in help, when are they unable to see me? And if they can't see me, that's generally going to be a great situation to cut to the basket because a lot of times you're going to be open coming off of that. So looking for those situations, first of all. Number 2 is when your teammate picks the ball up. So let's say your teammate drives and they don't get all the way to the basket and they stop and pick the ball up. Again, a lot of times the defense is going to turn and be completely focused on them. And that's a great situation for you to cut to the basket. A lot of times what defenders are taught to do is that when an offensive player is dribbling and they pick the ball up, it's a dead ball. So everyone's supposed to get up on their man or really pressure up on the ball, and that's a great opportunity for you to take advantage of that aggression that the defense is showing and cut to the basket because again, a lot of times you're going to be open off of that right there. And this leads into the third situation where you can look to cut, and that is when the opposite low or mid post gets a touch. And this could kind of play into the same sort of idea of off of a drive here, but when that ball gets into the opposite, so let's say it gets into the right mid post or low post and you're on the left wing, cutting to the basket off of that, a lot of times you're going to be open. This is called a 45 cut. And this is again because a lot of times defenders will turn their attention to that post touch and you're going to be able to get just a free cut to the basket. This is the same situation that could happen if your teammate were to drive on the right wing and they maybe get down to the block or the hash mark and pick the ball up. Great opportunity for you to cut from that left wing as well on that 45 cut. So those 3 situations are great opportunities to look for cuts and times to cut to get to the basket. And that alone is a great way that you can score 2, 3, 4 just free buckets every single game just by recognizing those opportunities. Because again, 95% of the time, you're going to be playing without the ball in your hands. So being great at recognizing these 3 situations are a crucial step to becoming a great scorer. Number 2 is transition opportunities. And I want to make this really, really simple because this is another situation that you're going to be in a lot. Off of a defensive rebound or a turnover, getting out in transition is a situation that every player is going to face multiple times every single game. Being great and scoring in transition is all about the effort and your want to. So how badly do you want to be the first one down the floor? How badly do you want to get the ball to score? That's the most important thing. If you have that, you're going to be able to score points in transition, and it's not going to require you to have a crazy deep bag or any of these things that we think about great scorers having. So, the number one thing for you to think about is to win the first 3 steps. So your teammate gets a defensive rebound. You wanna think about the first 3 steps you take down the floor. You wanna make sure that you take a faster 3 steps, and you cover more ground with those 3 steps than anybody else does. And when you focus on winning those 3 steps, you're gonna be out ahead of people a lot of times, and then it's just on your teammates to push the ball up to you, and you're gonna be able to get out and score open points in transition. So again, another situation for you to think of, and keeping that cue in mind, that reminder in mind, is that, hey, I need to make sure that I win the first 3 steps. Every time I'm trying to get out and run the transition, I got to win the first 3 steps, and you're going to be shocked at how open you are and how much more often you're going to be able to get the ball and score in transition. Again, great way for you to score 2 or 3 free buckets a game just by looking to do this. And then number 3 is attacking advantages. So basketball is all about creating advantages and then attacking them. That's what good offense is. That's what easy offense is. So we can do this in really 2 main ways and 2 super simple ways. Number 1 is momentum advantages. So think about a closeout coming at you. So your teammate skips the ball over to you, your defender closes out to you. The hardest thing to do for a defender is to successfully close out because they have to take away their shot and they have to prevent themselves from getting blown by on the drive. So this is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of that momentum coming at you where they have to run out to you, slow down, come to a stop, and then be able to slide either way to play defense if you drive right here. So if you recognize that and you attack their momentum, this is going to be the most vulnerable state that they're in, and you're going to be able to drive and get by them all the time and be able to score off of that. So recognizing situations to attack closeouts is a really, really valuable thing to have on offense. In that game I was talking about where Kevin Durant scored 21 points on one dribble, I'll link that video above. You want to check it out where I broke it down. But he scored 21 points on one dribble. The one dribble he took was attacking a closeout to get to the basket. That was the one dribble he took. Super valuable, super simple, and a great way to score easy buckets. Number 2 is recognizing size and athleticism advantages. So I call this turtle and mouse. So meaning if let's say we're in a screen situation. So I go set down screen. Let's say the defense switches it. And now all of a sudden I have a really small defender on me. Well, I can look to take them into the post now, and now we have what's called a mouse situation where I have a smaller defender on me, and I know that if I get the ball, I'm going to attack that mouse situation because I'm probably going to score or I'm going to get fouled. Basically, the odds are in my favor to score right there. Likewise, let's say the defense switches, and now I have a really slow defender on me, and I know that I'm more athletic than them. I'm quicker than them. Well, that's what we call a turtle situation. So I know that if I get the ball right there, I want to go at that turtle because I'm gonna have the odds in my favor again right there. So recognizing when you have a turtle or a mouse situation that you can attack is another great way to make scoring easy. It's a lot harder to score on a defender that matches up well with you, but when you recognize situations where maybe it's off a switch, maybe it's just the fact that like maybe the defender they put on you is just slow or small. And recognizing how you can take advantage of that fact is a great way for you to start to score more points because it's going to be easier. It's going to become more consistent. And ultimately, that's how you become a great scorer. So those 3 things: recognizing when to cut off the ball, how to get out and run in transition, and then how to attack advantages. If you can do those 3 things at a high level, you're going to have the opportunity to be a great scorer, and it's going to be super simple for you. Again, we want to make scoring easy because when we make it easy, it becomes consistent, and when it's consistent, that's how we become great at it. So keep those 3 things in mind. Take those 3 things with you. Look to apply them in your games. If you want another resource that's going to help you to add 6 to 8 points per game at least to your average, click the top link down below to get my free Basketball IQ Masterclass. We go into more stuff like this, talking about advantages and how to create them, how to make scoring easy, how to not just make scoring easy, but also learn how to create more for your teammates and ultimately play with more confidence and really simplify the game and allow you to see the most success on the court that you have seen before. So it's an hour long, completely free. Go ahead and check that out. It's going to completely transform the way that you play on the offensive end. I appreciate you for watching. Talk soon. Peace.